Hello there, and thank you for joining our program. I'm your host, Karim Fazzakari, and this is the English News Edition brought to you by Canal, Algérie. To the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, is on a two-day working and fraternal visit to Egypt, starting from today to consolidate the already excellent relations between the two countries. Coronavirus cases keep mounting in Algeria, and the health authorities are running against the clock to curb this pandemic with large-scale vaccination campaigns. And the situation is still volatile in Western Sahara, with the Moroccan exactions against civilians and human rights activists. Good evening, those were the headlines. We kick off our news bulletin with this piece of information. The President of the Republic, Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, Abdelmajid Tebboune, pays an official state visit to the Arab Republic of Egypt on Monday, 24th of January. We move on to the relations between Algeria and Egypt, which are bound with excellent relations based on cooperation and respect. They are marked by a particular determination of the sides to further upgrade them in all fields. More details in this report by Melissa Kubash.
Bilateral relations between both Algeria and Egypt, which dates back to several years, are marked by solidarity and mutual support. Algeria has supported Egypt during several momentous and historical events, namely during the 1967 and the 1973 wars. For its part, Egypt sided with Algeria, especially during the glorious November Revolution. It is worth mentioning that Algeria was one of the first Arab countries to back Egypt during the 1973 war, which was considered as a total confirmation of Algeria's membership in the Arab world. A brotherly relation distinguished by a solid partnership, deep cooperation, and constant consultations at the highest level, as well as the willingness of the two people and the heads of state, who have repeatedly shown a great convergence of points of view on several regional issues, such as the Libyan issue. As for discussions of the two heads of state and officials of the two countries, it reflects the mutual trust between the two sides, especially that the economic cooperation and commercial exchanges between the two countries keep growing. The commercial exchanges between the two countries have reached 800 million during the year 2020, which make Egypt the second partner for Algeria in the Arab world. Written by the great Algerian poet Mufti Zakaria and composed by the Egyptian musician Mohammed Fawzi, the Algerian national anthem, a heritage that will forever reflect the exceptional relations binding the two nations.
As part of a strategic partnership between both Algeria and Egypt, this metal factory based in the province of Medea considered a pioneering industrial investment model. Details with Melissa Kubash again.
Based in the province of Medea and part of an Algerian-Egyptian cooperation, this factory, specialized in the metal field, precisely in copper, have provided numerous job opportunities with a production capacity of 1,000 tons per month. We have 6 ovens. We deal with 2 types of copper, namely the red one used in the electrical field and the yellow one, which consists on 60% copper and 40% zinc. This one is used in the field of plumbing and cars. And with the aim of producing good quality products, namely copper, which is considered as a pillar in the industrial field, a special laboratory is devoted for quality control. We take several samples, starting with the raw material to the final product, so as to meet the international standards. The partnership agreement between the two countries in the investment field has always attached particular attention by investors. Thanks to the Trade Ministry's help and encouragement, we now have $1 million command, and we export to 4 different countries, namely Turkey, Italy, China, and Egypt. As for our plans for the year 2022, we aim to export $40 million worth of products. Foreign investments are one of the main indicators illustrating the success of the numerous economic projects meant to revive the economic sector.
The Algerian-Egyptian partnership is also illustrated through the electric cable production factory in Ain Difla province, which meets the needs of the local market and aspires to expand its exports outside the country. Manal Omari reports.
This is a pioneer factory in the manufacture of electrical cables and accessories, where high-pressure cables, halogen-free firefighting cables, and dry transformers are produced. We have reached a production of a high-voltage cable in Algeria up to 220 kilovolt. We want to produce a high-quality product which meets international standards in the Algerian market, which will hopefully be exported. The quality of this product made it a pioneer in the national market, which enforced it in the global market. We export from Algeria through the Swedish factory in Ain Difla province to more than 15 African countries, Latin America, the United States of America, Europe, Asia, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, and Iraq. Encouraging investment is an important part of supporting the national economy. Therefore, the Algerian state provided all the necessary facilities for Algerian and foreign investors alike. The support from the Algerian state and its institutions under the guidelines of the President of the Republic. As a result, we obtained 2 licenses to build factories that will double production. The relationship between Algeria and Egypt granted special privileges to the climate of joint investment.
To COVID-19 situation in Algeria now. The infection cases of coronavirus is still on the rise. In fact, 2,134 new confirmed cases of coronavirus, 1,020 recoveries, 14 unfortunate new deaths were recorded in the last 24 hours in Algeria, according to the Health Ministry. The national vaccination campaign is in full swing in the province of Boumerdaz. The mobilized personnel of the health sector stressed on the occasion the importance of vaccines in the fight against the pandemic. Citizens are finally responding to the calls of the health specialists, and more people got jabbed over the past few weeks. The details with Mesa Domas.
The vaccination campaign is still going on in the province of Boumerdaz, where more than 500 people get inoculated per week. I took my first and second shots, and I came today to get the third. Thank God I feel really good and I have no symptoms. In addition, coronavirus screening tests are offered free of charge to the population in order to preserve the health of everyone. I'm respecting the health protocol to protect myself and those around me because this upsurge is really worrying. It is worth mentioning that the public square in the center of Boumerdaz province is organizing several shows to sensitize children of the seriousness of the current health situation.
E-learning is back after suspending classes due to the rise of COVID infections. It's an alternative that allows universities to keep in touch with students and avoid worse scenarios. Today's case is the University of Ben Youssef Ben Khadda here in Algiers. Let's follow the story by Rania Al-Bahri.
Classrooms, amphitheaters, libraries are deserted. Prevention against COVID-19 requires lessons to be now held remotely. There was a lot of contamination last week. The situation was worrying. As you know, this virus is easily transmitted, so we have to break this chain. The second semester lessons started on Sunday, and the lessons will be carried out remotely. To avoid dropping out, Algerian universities are setting up a digital platform to keep in touch with students and provide lessons remotely. Thanks God we have finished the exam last week, but we still have projects to come and that we should start. So this week and next week the students will get online courses for evaluating architectural drawings. We hope it will be able to resume shortly while waiting for this wave to pass in order to be able to assess students face to face. But if that's not possible, we will do it online. Faced with this health situation which threatens us, compliance with health protocol and vaccination are the only means for breaking the chain of contamination.
The vaccination campaign intended for the education staff was launched by the education and health ministers who stressed the necessity to be jabbed to avoid further complications.
في مؤسستهم لأخذ هذا اللقاح لأنه هو الخلاص الوحيد من هذا الوباء. سنستغل كذلك.
The education personnel are called upon to be vaccinated at the level of their schools. Since vaccination is the only means to face this pandemic, we suspended classes to ensure the necessary conditions for a better resumption.
وبالنسبة لتحت العناية
Those people now under intensive care due to respiratory problems are non-vaccinated people. The same case with those who passed away. Therefore, vaccination is a must. It alleviates the patient's suffering.
Still with vaccination, the campaign is still underway across all the national territory. In Tugurt province, for instance, more and more people are aware of the importance of this move, considered an efficient way to deal with the alarming situation. Mesa Dumas.
Awareness caravans continue to crisscross the four corners of the province of Tugurt, which is witnessing a large influx of inhabitants hoping to get rid of this killing virus once and for all.
We try to sensitize citizens to get vaccinated to protect themselves and their families. I just got jabbed and I call on all my fellow citizens to do the same.
The health authorities have put in place all the necessary means in terms of equipment and medical personnel for the medical care of patients with COVID and to effectively fight this pandemic. We have more than 22 vaccination centers across the province of Tugurt, and we recently added another vaccination point in the center. It is worth recalling that vigilance and respecting the barrier measures remain a must to curb the spread of this virus.
To international news now, the Sahrawi human rights militant and activist Sultana Khaya remains fearless and keeps fighting for the Sahrawis despite the repressions and attacks of the occupying Moroccans. Staying along with her family and her house arrest, she never gives up defending her country's fair cause. More details with Manal Amari.
Under house arrest since November 2020, the Sahrawi activist Sid Ibrahim Khaya and her sister Al-Wa'ara continued their struggle with determination. The activists organized a protest from the roof of their house while chanting slogans demanding the freedom and independence of Western Sahara, while flags were hanging from the balconies in defiance to the colonizer and its arsenal of repression set up to prohibit the continuation of this fight. All means of repression to target the whole family were put in place, from electricity cuts to throwing garbage, aiming to stop the resistance led by these sisters. The international community condemns and denounces the situation in Western Sahara. The repression suffered by the Khaya family highlighted the chaotic situation experienced by Sahrawis in the occupied territories, namely repression, arbitrary arrests, and violation of rights and freedoms. As a reminder, the last visit of the UN Special Envoy to Western Sahara, Stefan de Mistura, in the regions made it possible to inquire closely about the Sahrawi people's situation, who are fighting for the liberation and the development of the Sahrawi state's institutions.
The Spanish Foreign Affairs Minister José Manuel Alvarez reiterated to Stefan de Mistura the need to find a political settlement to the conflict in Western Sahara within the legal framework of the UN, underlining that it's an imperative matter. Stefan de Mistura, the special envoy of the General Secretary of the UN to Western Sahara, just ended his first tour to the region. On the ground, military operations continue along the Wall of Shame in Western Sahara. The Sahrawi Liberation Army targeted new positions of the Moroccan occupation in the sector of Mahbas. And we wrap up our news bulletin with this special visit to an antique dealer who gives life back to many beautiful old masterpieces. Rania Al-Bahri has compiled this report for us.
Rare antique sellers bring back all things. Tariq Amriwi loves these masterpieces. We met him in his boutique workshop. This universe steeped in history and tell us everything. I love all these masterpieces. I love candlesticks. It's the things that are here over 100 years old. If these objects can reveal secrets, it must tell us everything. Crystal lighting, candlesticks, and embellishment are Tariq's first favorite, and since then he has made it his first choice. My favorite things is the crystal candlesticks, because they were the first objects meant to decorate castles and homes in several eras, especially the 70s and the antique eras, but crystal has its own charm and remains the most beautiful thing. Treasures, shoes, bags and furniture are available in Tariq's store. These beautiful things date back 40 to 50 years ago. All the pieces we have here are old. We bring them back to life and offer for sale. To be a rare antique seller, you must be an expert. Rare antique sellers have a lot of enthusiasm mixed with ambitions. It would take an expert certificate in a well-known training to practice and enjoy this fascinating job.
Well, that's it for me and the rest of the English news team. Thank you for tuning in to our channel. Good. Bye for now.